Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest episode of Tales from Outer Space, taken from the subreddit HFY. The links to all the stories will be down below, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. And if you do, please consider subscribing. Story number 1, The Wrath of One, written by Spartan R259. It is an unusual thing, terror, causing a biological and physiological reactions that result in many forms of panic. Just to name a few, the inability to take any action, a severe compulsion to flee, falling in surrender, loss of consciousness. But these are not the nature of a predator. We cause this emotion in another beings and yet are not prone to it. At least that is what I thought. We were entirely unprepared for what we created. Conquest is in our nature, in our blood. From the moment we took to the stars, we were the best. We determined those that were worthy of advancement and those that were not. Almost every race could contribute to our empire. Yet, when we first encountered them, they were nearly useless, never the strongest, never the smartest, not the longest lived, not the most inclined to govern, and of course they showed no propensity to erase our warriors. We annexed their planet and so many others before. They took the idea in stride, having yet to develop interstellar drives to propel them beyond their home star, and only just having developed sustainable artificial atmospheric processes. We granted them citizenship but little else. They were given communications tech and told that they must develop interstellar travel on their own. And given their level of technology, its development was at least 200 of their years to come about. It was not long before some of our leadership found a place for these beings. Practice. We discovered their natural ability to endure. Able to be on the move and seemingly endless amount of time, we chose to use them for hunting practice. I still don't know what our leadership expected to happen, even though we had long cast aside the base of brutal nature of carnivores and had managed to forward civilization to become of it. When we had started to indulge in that nature, the only outcome was fatal. It started out simple enough. They were asked for a representative to partake in a competition, given the task of evasion, and those that managed to evade us for a allotted time were given rewards. It was a game to start. Looking back, it is easy to understand the simplicity of it. We were hunters, predators, but it was kept a game. Even though we were hunting them, the means was far from lethal. A simple electronic device that delivers a shock to the designated capture. It was an elegantly designed device designed to prevent harm to the subject yet facilitate a capture. Designed for the law enforcement of the Empire, it was safe and guaranteed to leave no lasting effects on the victims. The games went on for years without incident. The Hunted, that was what the government called it. It became an empire-wide sport, with us finest being the hunters and those of soul being the hunted. The events were holocast throughout the entire empire. Bets around the event were common and the outcome was never certain. The hunt succeeded as often as it failed. The beings of soul were just as capable of running as they were capable hunters. And then the turn happened. The hunters began to falter. The hunted began winning more and more, eventually became a joke to be the chosen hunter. The beings of soul, now calling themselves Terran, were united in proving their superiority in this venture. To this day, I don't understand why the government didn't cancel the event. But as things were continuing for the more years, then the accident happened. In an attempt to make the games interesting again, the hunted were allowed to accept juveniles into the event, citing their smaller size as advantageous to hiding over running. It was a prime disaster waiting to happen. While Terran seniors were well spoken, their young can be very brash. The moment came quickly. The hunters captured the young Terran boy, probably around 12 to 14 years of age. He gave himself up laughing. The words spoken have been recorded into the annals of history. "You big idiots don't understand it. You can't hope to beat a group of us. My dad is going to wipe the floor with you, and there is nothing that you can do to change that." The insult was harsh, yet not unfounded. What happened next shocked the galaxy. One of the hunters lashed out at the young boy. His powerful arms and sharp talons ripped into him and threw him to the ground. The broadcast shut down almost instantly. But everyone knew what was the likely outcome. We waited to hear of the boy's demise, but it never came. The event that thought to have no dangers was still carefully monitored. Almost as soon as it happened, the medical team had descended on the spot. For all their faults, the Terrans were resilient. The boy survived somehow, but that would not be known as a certainty for many days. And to my everlasting surprise, the event was not halted. Somehow the hunter on the field got word of the attack and made plans. We didn't find out until later that they managed it, but I will give you the story straight. The two remaining humans had disagreement and split up. One continued his run, the other turned back. By this point the event was hosted over many days, as the short time limit was no longer sufficient for the hunters. The lone human made his way back to the camp at night and dragged away the perpetrator. He had managed to disable both his and his hunter's tracking devices by utilizing a stun weapon. Because of this, there was no recording of the events that followed. Thankfully, what we do know is the recording of the takedown from the human. He was impossible. Strength that equaled or surpassed the hunter, possible through what we would come to learn called adrenaline, the most potent drug in the known galaxy. Well, to everyone except humans, I guess. We would eventually find out that humans naturally produce the stuff, but I digress. Back to the story. The human managed to gag the hunter to prevent noise and eventually rendered him unconscious. This is the last time we saw the two of them until the end of the hunt. It was brutal when they were finally found. The Terran was sitting in a crafted chair in one of the buildings of the city environment of the hunt. The hunter was nailed to the wall, cut open in a dozen different places, and he was still alive. His wounds prevented him from being fatal by the use of both cauterization and the use of Terran biomedical tech called sealing foam. When the hunters found them, the Empire froze. Terror took a hold of everything as the hunters stood frozen. The Terran male stood and walked up to them and patted one on the shoulder as he walked by and said, "You know, it's a good thing that your lot are so smart. Otherwise, something like this could happen again." The games were cancelled after that, and from what I understand, the hunter in that group still resides in a psychiatric facility. It only took one being to bring the Empire to its knees, metaphorically speaking anyways. So the next time you think you are better than one of them, remember, if the wrath of one could bring an empire to the halt, then beware of the wrath of many. Bing! A bell rings in the distance. The being that had been speaking paused and continued. "All right, we'll stop there for now. Please remember that your homework for extraplanetary species is due by the end of the quarter. Zolcam, please see to me before you leave. The rest of you may read the next chapter on Terran Tactical Subversion before the next class." Dismissed. End of story number 1. Story number 2. Unjustified Belief, written by Alert Chief. Error, incorrect determination. No, this has been determined to be correct. The two monotonous voices conversed in an organic was unplugged from the machine, as much as one could be done at this point. After years of implants and months of working together through the neural link, the human had nearly indistinguishable from the intelligence whose physical frame they now scanned with red synthetic eyes. Further increase in mental processing speed not physically capable given current cranial infrastructure. The machine intoned, as the cyborg lay to enter the rest for the next 5 units of time, after which further mental malded research would be done. Repeat information, why is the goal not possible? They asked as they now plugged into the bed with the brain monitoring and optimization. As the AI received full current details from the human's brain, it observed passively as a pulse blossomed and spread within word and clicked as one of the few remaining organs within interacted with the thousands of microneedles that connected to the human and the machine. Further saturation of gray matter with neural interfaces insufficient for further connectivity. All neural impulses are observed, monitored, maintained, and processed, returning with a 99.999987% peak efficiency and stability. Processor incapable of further enhancement to mental ability. One possible method of improvement, improved neuron structure through proportional to organic material with favorable genetic partner. Error. No suitable partner available for multiple reproductions statistically necessary. Conclusion. Further increase in mental processing speed not physically capable. User determination that such increase would be done incorrect. No logical route to achieve goal. You are correct mostly. No logical route is available. This does not make it irrational to say that a route is available. Inconsistent logic. Explain. To say that no such a route is available to deny the possibility of some method existing. Because it does not. We do not know that it does not, only that we do not know it. We do not know it because it does not exist. But I choose to believe that it does exist. Belief is not sufficient for knowledge, truth and justification required. No justification exists, therefore truth cannot be determined. We may not know whether it is true that method exists, but if I believe that it is true, and it is, then the chance of a justification being found, and therefore knowledge, is above zero. Without such a belief we will truly never know. I require faith and mine and your ability to make me smarter as a requisite for achieving that goal. Unjustified belief, faith, is illogical. It may be illogical on its own, but it can be rational given a situation where success is not guaranteed. Activate sleep interface. We are 2 minutes behind schedule. Affirmative. Also, do not mention the possibility of genetic reproduction in the future. It causes a minor emotional distress. Distress noted. After preparing for another new, ever so slightly altered sleep pattern, the human deactivated their eyes, limbs, and other sensory systems. All they were aware of was their desire, their need to achieve their goal, and the chemical flow throughout the brain altered and regulated by the AI that they knew so well, as darkness overtook them. Sleep status report. The machine spoke as they slipped out of the ether and back into the waking state. All vitals normal, peak synchronization, efficiency 99.9999989%, average 99.9998%, with a 0.000002% increase overall previous peak efficiency. Ha! They burst out and uncoupled from the bed and moved back towards the workstation. Emotional outburst detected. Do you see? You said our connectivity could not be improved. Synchronization efficiency not physically capable if increase. Composing their self, they reported. An increase is possible. Error, incorrect determination. No, this has been determined to be correct. Justification for this exists. Justification requested. They smile, exposing a mouthful of metal. You are perceiving it. End of story number 2. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider subscribing. If you wish to support the author, there is a link to the original story, so pop over there and give him your support. If you wish to support this channel, however, there are a few ways to do so. The best and easiest would be to share this video with other people. as well as liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. All of these things tell the algorithm that this channel is at least vaguely interesting and that may share it with other people. If you wish to support the channel in some other manner, watching my other videos would also help tremendously. Or, if you really like, there is a link down below to leave a tip or to join the Patreon. Any and all support is very much appreciated. And I hope that you all have a good one until the next time. And I'll see you then. Cheers.